Now it's about that time to start transitioning into fall, back to school, and of course the holidays. But before we go there, we wanted to put a Christmas in July bundle out for everybody so that you can get a head start on some decor and specifically your cards that you're going to be sending out for the holidays. So today we're going to do the first of two Z-fold cards, really cool designs. We've got one, in this case, the one that we're doing in this video is more of a cute card. We have a nice elegant one as well. So check out that other video. But it's a very simple card, a lot of paper piecing, and it's very reminiscent of a box card, so it's not going to be difficult to do. And I'm going to walk you through the process step by step. So let's take a look at what I have here in front of me. We're going to begin with the actual base of the card. So you'll notice that I've already folded it. This is going to be the inside, that's the back, and then this is going to be the front, and actually part of this is going to be the front as well. So you want to fold here, and you want to fold here, just like this, okay? And we're going to begin kind of from the bottom, and we're going to work our way up, okay? So what we want to do is we're going to put our panels down first. Now I've taken these panels here, and I've already inked them, okay? And I actually ran them through an embossing folder as well. So I'm going to start with this one here. Now you'll notice that on this part here, there's a little part that's kind of chopped off, and then there's a little bit of a bump here. The edge of this bump needs to be flush with the side of the base here. So you want to kind of just line that up with the very bottom corner of this. And when you do that, and as long as you have it aligned correctly, making sure that it's nice and flush down here, you should have a nice even border going all the way around this white panel piece here. Okay, so we're going to begin with our two panels. And the cool thing is you've got a nice little beautiful display on the inside. And then we've also put a little panel on the back for your little sentiment or your message, your stamp, whatever it is you want to include on yours or your family's Christmas cards this year. Okay, so again, remember that this little bump down here needs to be aligned with the bottom right corner. Okay, and then also just try to make sure that that is nice and flush down here as well, just like so. And then you should end up with a nice even border going all the way around. Okay, I got an email the other day asking if I would share the names of the inks that I use. Well, you guys know what brand, but the specific color that I used on this was Turquoise Gem. Okay, actually, no, you know what? That wasn't Turquoise Gem. That was Sea Breeze. This is Sea Breeze. Okay, so we got that one in place, and next we're going to put this one in place here. And when I actually had to cut this out to test it initially, just to make sure that things were consistent. And I remember doing this. So when I glued this one down, I kind of had this one folded in half. Okay, because we want to make sure that it folds properly. So go ahead and get your glue on this next piece here. And just try to make sure that you work a little bit of that glue out to the very edges here so we don't have anything peeling back and getting all wonky on us. Okay, and if you think that maybe you put a little bit too much glue in some places, just rub some of that off. Okay, now this little piece here, this is going to line up with the very bottom left of the card base here as well. And again, that is going to give us a nice even border all the way around, and it should just kind of meet up right here in the center where that fold is. Okay, so we're just going to be doing some layering here. And really, there's really not much dimensional stuff going on with this card. It's mostly just a series of layers. Okay, just the little Z-fold element is really the most, really the biggest layer. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, now you're gonna wanna probably, you think that maybe you wanna put this all the way at the bottom here, but you don't, because you see what happens here. The top's gonna be off. So when you glue this one down, you wanna make sure that you get that lined up with this piece here, okay? Because this is all gonna be hidden at the bottom, which is why this is cut away, sort of. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second here. but go ahead and get your glue on this final little panel here. Okay. There we go. And again, I'm going to lay this flat and I'm going to pop that right in there. You want to make sure that it's lined up at the top there. Okay. Just like that. And there's going to be a little bit of a gap there, and that's fine. You really, once you unfold this thing, you know, and set it up so it sits like that, there's going to be a tiny little gap there, but that's fine. It gets the point across, and that's all we're looking to do. Okay, so we've got the main card base put together. It's very sturdy already, nice and thick, nice and heavy. Should withstand the test of time here. All right, so now we can do a few more simple things. This guy here, this is our little panel that's going to go on the back. Okay, and it's got a nice little contrast. We're going to pop that right in the center. This is where you're going to put your little message or your little sentiment, your little stamp, whatever it is you're planning on doing for your Christmas cards. Just like that. And do your best to just get that nice and centered, nice and even. I would kind of focus on looking at the bottom just to make sure that that is nice and parallel. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So far, so good. Okay. All right, now we can begin putting the next layers on. Okay, so this piece here, this piece is going to go right here, and you can see how it kind of, there's that little bump here. That's going to match up with this bump here, and then this little cutout is going to match up with this little cutout here. So we can go ahead and get that into place. And these are kind of like the little rolling hills behind our little snowmen that we're going to put on here. Okay, just make sure that you get enough glue on there so nothing comes peeling back, or peeling off, I should say. And just get that nice and aligned, just like that. Okay. There we go. And it's going to be like a little puzzle piece as far as putting our snowmen down. We're going to save this piece for once we have the little mechanism on so that we don't mess up the placement. But we are going to put this piece down. Okay, and this piece down is going to go right, or this piece is going to go down right here, like so. Okay, so obviously the flat sides are going to match up with the straight edges there on the little piece just below it. There we go. And just get that nice and lined up, just like that. Okay. And that's pretty good. And actually, this is a Derice embossing folder, the little snowflakes, and this is by Tailored Expressions. I don't think the Tailored Expressions one is available anymore, but you can find something with dots. I think that would pretty much give the same feel. And then this one is by Derice. I think you can readily find that at your local Michael's or Joann's. Okay, so now that we have that in place, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put, we're going to put some of the mechanisms down. Okay, so this is the first part of our mechanism, and then we're also going to add a top layer to that, and that's going to be these little pieces that I have here in white glitter. Okay, so but we need to put this piece down first. And now you'll notice that on this piece there's a little marker right here, and that is to help you get your glue on the places that you need it so that you don't go over it. So what you want to do is you want to place glue on this side here all the way up to, and only up to, that little marker there. You don't want to go past that marker. That is where we need to put our glue and nothing more. Okay, so just up to that part right there. And then we're going to take this and we're going to line this up with this little piece down here and make sure that it's nice and flush with the bottom. And just press that into place. Okay, this part needs to remain flat. Just like that. Okay, and now this part here, you're going to fold this so that this comes out straight. You see how that comes out straight? And then that folds in. And then all we're going to do is we're going to glue this part over here. And you can see how this little hump here, this little bump, is going to match up with this bump here. So that's all we really need to do for this to kind of bring this mechanism to life. It's very simple, actually. So you want to put glue all the way up to the little score mark here, nothing beyond the score mark. And just make sure that you get some good coverage on there. And if you want, you can kind of lift this up a little bit so it's not fighting. And just go ahead and get that nice and lined up with that little hump and just match up the little rolling hills like that. And give that a press. Okay. And it should lay flat. If yours doesn't, it probably means that you're off a smidge, but no one's really going to open this up all the way. When they open it, it's going to stand like that. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense so far. I'm sure it does. It's not that difficult. Okay, now we're going to take these pieces and we're just going to glue these down to add another little layer to our little mechanism. So go ahead and start with whichever piece. I'm going to start with this one here. Okay, and you want to make sure that this is nice and flush with the bottom and the left corner. Just like that. And this one, this white glitter, I inked this with the turquoise gem. That's this color here. Okay, so there we go. Got that in place. And this piece here with this little cutout, almost looks like a little tooth. That's going to go right here, okay? And you want to kind of just make sure that you get that centered. You don't want to encroach over the little score marks that make up the mechanism there. So make sure you keep that within the score mark area. Okay. And there we go. Give that a little bit of a nudge if you were just a bit off or whatnot. And just press that down. Okay. And then finally, we've got our last little piece. And this one we're going to kind of align to the right with the very edge there. So you want that to be all the way to the very bottom right of that part. And just make sure it's nice and flush with the bottom as well. Just like that. Okay, so there we have our little base. I'm just kind of brushing off any little debris that may have ended up on there. And there's the foundation for our card, okay? So it's very straightforward. And now it's just a matter of adding our elements. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the flat stuff here on the sides, and then we'll work on the interior, okay? So with that said, let's find our first little snowman here. And it's Mr. Snowman with the top hat. And he is actually kind of hanging off a little bit. So you're going to open up your card like this, and you're just going to slide. You see this little part here? This little part here is going to tuck behind up to that part there. Just a little bit of that is going to go behind. Okay, and the rest of this is going to get glued down flat. Now you can see that I didn't ink everything completely because we've got pieces that are going over this, so I didn't have to. But anyway, let's go ahead and get our glue on Mr. Snowman here. And we'll get him into place. I'm going to get a little bit of glue on his little carrot nose. Just make sure his nose doesn't come flying off, as well as on his scarf. And then you're going to want to put glue on the front side of this little part down here. Just a tiny little bit of glue, maybe just in this little corner here. Okay, so when we tuck that in, it will hold and adhere to the very front, just like that. And just kind of give that a scooch in until it all aligns nicely like a little puzzle. And then just press that down into place. Okay, just like that. Here we go. Okay, and now it's simply just a matter of doing some paper piecing. And I've got, I think I've got all of his features here separated. So we can begin with, a little hat. Okay, the hat's gonna go right on there like that. And just throw some glue on the back of our hat. Now I am gluing cardstock to glitter, so I'm gonna need to be a little more patient while things set. This is a unique kind of glitter in that it's not really rough like some glitters. It's still got a little bit of that texture, but not all that much. Okay, so we'll get our hat in place, of course. And you see what I mean? It just doesn't want to stick because it's glitter. So I'm going to try that one more time. And I'm going to set it and forget it for a few moments. And it's kind of, pardon my head for a second, it's a little hard to see because I'm putting it in white. Okay, there you go. Just, I guess, push it down delicately. There we go. And we do have, got a little band that goes around the center of his cap. Just throw a little bit of glue on there. Just a tiny little bit on that little section there. And that's going to go like so. Just get that nice and aligned. Just like that. There we go. Okay. And I've got his mouth. Now, when you go to cut all this stuff out, you notice that the mouths look kind of similar. Just do your best to, well, actually the two of them look a little similar. This one and the one on the far right. Just make sure you get the larger one for our snowman with the top hat. And I just got a little piece of paper that's just sticking off there. I'm gonna trim that a little bit. We do have some little markers here to help you with the placement of the mouth. Okay, so go ahead and just throw a couple drops of glue on here and use those markers to position his mouth. There we go. We're actually going to use some rhinestones for his eyes, kind of so they look like little rocks, but we do have the carrot. And obviously we're going to match that carrot up with the little silhouette or the shadow of the carrot that's already on the white glitter piece. So just pop that into place like so. Okay, and we can move down and we'll throw his cute little scarf on. And the scarf obviously is going to match up with the little tails of the scarf there. So that one's very simple to position. No rocket science there. Get your glue on there and work a few little dots out to the tips of the tails so that those don't come peeling off. And just match those tails up. And get that around his neck so he doesn't get colder than he already is. There we go. That's cute. Okay, so all that's left is his little hands and a little book. Okay, so now he's holding this one here. So we're just going to pop that into place like so. And then we've got a little overlay that's going to go on top of that to give the impression of an actual book. So get your, and you can see that there's little indicators there to help you with the positioning on that so that you get it nice and accurate. Just like that. Now this is glitter on glitter. It's even more fun. So just be patient if you're doing the same thing. There we go. And then now I'm doing foil on glitter. This is the little book piece, and also it's kind of cut out so that it gives the illusion of his hands there, which is nice. Saves you a little bit of work and a little bit of paper. And just match that up with the very tip there at the bottom, as well as the top. and that just wants to slide around. So I'm going to need to hold that in place for a few moments while it sets. And there we go. And that is really not sticking at all. Since I already have part of it in place, I'm going to grab my little scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on this, and just paint a little bit of glue on the underside of this little book piece so that I can get that to stick nicely. And there you go, there's a cute little snowman there for you. That looks really cool, especially with the inking. I definitely would take the time to add a little bit of ink to that because it really just takes it over the top, okay? And of course, we'll add the little rhinestone eyes and a few buttons using some rhinestones, and that is our first little snowman. All right, now going back to this little piece here that we kind of left alone until this part, you can see how that's going to fit in there now, so we can go ahead and glue that down. So let's do that. Let's get our glue on this piece here and just pop that in like a little puzzle. It should hug our snowman's little toes and feet there nicely. And there we go. Okay, so we're getting there. Now we're going to work on the snowman here on this side. So that's the snowman with the little pom-pom hat. So he's going to get glued down right here, just like a little puzzle, just like before. Okay, so we can actually do that first. And then we're going to just layer some more items on top of him to finish off the little look here. Okay, so I'm probably going to go a little bit heavier on the glue here because this is, well, the back part of this is also with this glitter paper. It's not very porous. So I kind of feel like sometimes it just needs a little extra glue. Okay, so we'll get that into place. Just like I said, pop it in just like a little puzzle piece. And just press that down. You know, what might help with this is if I use my brayer. I might actually, oh, my brayer's kind of dirty. There we go. All right, so kind of just like we did before, I'm going to start from the top with his hat and then work my way down. And again, he's got this little cap here. Okay, so we're going to glue that in place, and then there's another little piece here. Where is it? Oh, it's this green one. It's going to go on top in just a moment, so let's get this in place first. There we go. And just position it so that it matches up with the existing cutout there. There we go. And just hold that in place for a moment. If you're using glitter, if you're not, it should pretty much adhere almost immediately. Okay. And we've got this piece here. That's going to go on top of the piece we just put down. Got to give him a nice little two-toned hat. Okay. And I would just focus on lining it up with the little squiggly part of the hat, and the rest of it should just kind of fall into place like so. There we go. There we go. Okay, can grab his little nose, and we'll throw a couple dots of glue on this little tiny carrot. Probably should have used my little pick-me-up tool for that, but that's okay. And just line that up with the silhouette of his little nose tip there. Oops. You can see how this glitter just doesn't want to take. It will eventually, but it just doesn't grab like paper does. Okay, and I have two mouths here. That's the other one's mouth. Let me trim this off a little bit here. I've got another little stray piece here. Okay. So let's get his mouth in position. And again, there are some little markers there. Let me grab my pick-me-up tool. This will make it a lot easier. And pick-me-up tool is kind of handy because it can get your fingers out of the way so that you can apply the glue more accurately and more evenly without getting it all over the place. Okay, and then find the little markers and just position it right in between those markers there. Do your best. There we go. Again, eyeballs are going to be with little rhinestones. So that leaves our little scarf. And the scarf's got some bells on it as well. So that's going to go, just kind of look at the little neck area to help you with the positioning. And then also you'll notice that there's this little bump here, and that is to, that kind of coincides with the little bell, the ball of the bell. All right, so we'll get that glued down. Okay, so we've got our scarf on, and now we do have a little top layer for his other arm, and that's going to go right here. Okay, just like that. And again, I did ink that as well. So let's hit this with some glue and pop it right into place. And before you put it down, just make sure that you've got it properly aligned, like so. There we go. And of course, he does have two bells. Okay, one has the little ball of the bell to the left. Okay, and that is going to go down here. So let's get that in place, and that should fit like a little puzzle piece as well. And of course, we already have the little shadow portion of it right there, so we just know exactly where that's going to go. And for this one here, we do have the top of the bell, which is this tiny little gold piece here. So let me grab my pick-me-up tool, and we'll just put a little dot of glue right on there. And that is going to go right here at the tip. Just kind of find the natural curve of his little hand there to get that position properly, and you can see what that's starting to look like. It's a very, very graphical sort of card, especially with the colors that we're using. Okay, one more bell, a few little dots here and there. Just like that. And press that down. Give it a chance to set. So far, so good. Okay. And that is it for him. Again, eyeballs. I've got some little black rhinestones that we're gonna use for his eyeballs, and then we're gonna give him some buttons as well in black. And that just leaves the two main components for the center. Now, before we actually place them, we're going to assemble them. One of them is one of these vintage Victorian street lamps. Okay, so now with the street lamp is going to be in the, well, it's going to be in the back of, there's going to be two elements, one in the front, one in the back. The snowman's going to be in the front, the little lamp is going to be in the back. So what you want to do is you want to take these tabs and fold them back. This is my texture side. You want to fold the tabs back. You can lay it down flat right now, but remember that when we go to lay this down and put it in place, that those tabs are going to be folded towards the back of the card. Okay, so go ahead and place your glue on your little lamp here. Try to get as much coverage as you can. Okay, you want this to hold together nicely. It's going to be 2 layers thick, and since it's kind of tall, I want to make sure that we bond this together as well as possible so that its integrity is much stronger Okay, so just line that up with the little shadow piece here. Just make sure that you've got it as lined up as possible. There we go. That yellow on black has got me thinking about a different holiday right now. Okay, there we go. And we do have a pretty little bow that's going to go on here, but before we put the bow in place, we do have some festive greens to apply to this. Now you'll see here, we've got this one here. This one has a little bit of a cutout right at the top where the bow is going to kind of piece in. So that's how you know that you've got the right one for the top section there. Okay, so let's get our glue on the back of this and just pop this into place. And just follow the little pointy parts of our greenery here to make sure that you've got it positioned correctly. And this foil is awfully slippery, but that's okay. All right, now before we glue this down, I just want to make sure that I have it in the right position, and I do. Worst thing you could do is get your glue on here and have this thing upside down and put it down and then have to take it up and then just leave a bunch of glue on this black lamp, because the white, no matter what glue you use, if you get a smudge of glue on black, it does kind of dry clear, but it's glossy, and then it might kind of ruin it a little bit. Not a big deal if it does, but all right, now we're going to put the bow in place. So again, the bow should kind of fit into that little part of the greenery there, and as well as the little sections there on the black part that look like the little loops of the bow. Okay, so let's just kind of work that into the puzzle piece section there and press that down. And there we go. That's pretty. And probably gonna put some, actually, yeah, we're gonna put some red rhinestones on the little green there, just to make it look more festive. And then we're gonna take this top layer and we're gonna glue that to the base layer of our little bow, just to give that some added dimension, like that. Okay, so that is the backmost piece of the dimensional section of our card. It's gonna look like that, really pretty. And now we've got our little snowman here. Now this snowman, again, he's gonna be up in front, so you're gonna wanna remember to take the little folds up here and fold them towards you, okay? But we need to assemble this guy. So here are the pieces, or this gal, I should say. I'm gonna start with the hat, and she's got a cute little pink plaid winter hat. Let me get rid of that. A little too much glue there. Okay. So just position that in place. Use a little pom-pom as your guide. Like that. Okay. And I'm gonna flatten this out a little bit. She's kind of leaning forward. I don't know what they put in her hot chocolate, but can't be good. Okay, and then there's this little piece here to, again, make the hat kind of two-toned. So just a few drops of glue on the back of this, and then just pop that right up at the top there, like so. Okay. And next is the nose. So let's get our nose here. And just match that up with the existing little shadow on the white part. Give that a press. And just like we did with the previous two snowmen, We have little markers to help you with the positioning of the mouth. Let me use my pick-me-up for that. Just a few little drops will do. And I'm just going to kind of dab that a little bit, flatten it out. And take a look at how I'm positioning this so that you understand how it's supposed to go down like that. And that just leaves our little book. Okay. Now you'll notice that you want the part where, well, the hands are going to be on the shorter side, the top side. Okay, that's probably the best way I can explain it. So the hands towards the top, and then the rest of the book below it. That would make sense, I think. I think that's probably how we all read. Well, not true. Sometimes you hold the book from the bottom if you're doing it one-handed, but I digress. There are some markers here to help you with the positioning of this piece as well, just to make sure you get it nice and centered. Pardon my head for a second. There we go. You can see how that's supposed to go on. Give that a press. Oh, you know what? I forgot the scarf. My bad. That'd be one chilly little snow woman there. Snow gal. Call her a snow gal. Okay, so that's just going to go on like this. And just match that little bump there on the right up to the little bump on the shadow piece. Okay, and then we'll get our little book in place here. And that's pretty much it for the assembly of our snow gal. And now it's going to be time to just kind of put this all together. I'm kind of working at a slow pace since I've never done a Z card for Dreaming Tree. I don't know if I've ever done a Z fold card in general, so I just want to make sure that I don't mess up. So I don't have to redo this. This is my first time making this. I'm sure a lot of you already know that. Okay, there we go. And again, eyeballs we're going to do with the rhinestones. So this one's going to go forward. This one's going to go back. And for those of you that have made box cards, this process is pretty much the same. Now, one thing that I do want to mention when we put these in here, we want to make sure that everything is nice and flush with the bottom. Okay, so you're going to get that aligned with the bottom, and then that's really it. Just make sure that it's nice and flush with the base, just like this. Okay, so you can see here, we want these elements that we're putting in here to be flush with the bottom. So let's start with the lamp. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put glue on these two tabs here. Okay. And you want them to be on the outside. Okay, you're putting the glue on the outside because these two tabs are going to get glued down to the inside here. Okay, so now before we put this in, it would probably be helpful to just kind of pull this in so that as you're placing it in there, it's not going to make contact with anything and get glue in places that you don't want it. So just easy, nice and easy, pop that in, pop that in and grab either the front or the back, doesn't matter. I'm going to start with this side here, and I'm just going to grab it and pull it all the way back so that it's flush with the back of the card, and just make sure that it's also flush with the bottom, the base, the floor, I guess we'll call it, and just give that a push. Just press that into place. Hopefully you can see that. And then you can kind of flip this over and grab the other part and just glue that to the side, the inside here. And just make sure that that's also flush with the bottom. And now before it completely dries, you want to go ahead and take it and fold it. Okay. That's also kind of applying pressure to help it dry faster too. Okay, so there is, and you can see how that works. Okay, so we've just taken the two tabs, and glued one side to the inside of this part and the other side to the inside of that part. Okay, so the snowman is going to be really no different, except these tabs now, the front of these tabs, are going to, well, they're going to touch the front of the card. You're going to push that, scoot that all the way up so that it lines up with the front of that card. Okay, and you can see how nicely that matches up. Let me show you here from this angle. We're going to take this and slide it all the way up to the front. And you see this little hill here. You can see how nicely that's going to match up with the existing little hill once we get that in place. Okay, so and let's go ahead and grab our glue and put our glue on the little tabs here. And again, this glue is facing out like that. Okay, but again, bring them in a little bit so that when we pop this in here, I'm going to drop it in. I'm going to take this side here and pull it all the way up towards the front of the card as far as it can go and just kind of squeeze it into place. Okay, now I'm going to take this tab and just push that up to the front of the card as far as it goes, and also again making sure that it's nice and aligned at the bottom, nice and flush with the bottom of the card, and give that a press and make sure that that's all holding nicely. And while it's still kind of not fully set, fold it over and press to make sure that it folds nicely. And there you have it. And there's your beautiful scene. Okay, give that a few moments to really settle in and dry nicely. Okay, and that's it. So all I have to do now is just take my little rhinestones and kind of adorn this and embellish it a little bit more. But that is it. That is it for this. Now, of course, it wouldn't be complete without an envelope, which we have. So let's take a look at that. Now here is our envelope. And I didn't actually pre-fold this. This is actually scored with my Cricut Maker, and it does a pretty decent job. Although sometimes, my finger is kind of dirty there. I still use my little scraper as a bone folder to get these lines to be nice and crisp. Okay, just fold that over. It really helps with getting nice crisp lines. And we'll fold this part over. There we go. Okay, now we've got a beautiful little little motif here at the top, and this little piece here is going to go right in here. It's going to be flush with where the little score mark is, but we also want to make sure that we have it nice and centered as well. So to get that in place, you want to actually put the glue on the flap. You don't want to put it on the white piece because you're not always going to be sure that you have it in the right spot because of the little cutouts here for the snowflake. So let's put it on this piece here, and then maybe just do a few little dots here right on the very edges of the little snowflake motif, design, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to spread that thin. I feel like it's going to show through if it's kind of like that. Okay, so to complete this, I'm just going to kind of drop this in right where that little crease is for the fold. Make sure it's centered, and then just press that down into place, just like that. And we're going to add some little rhinestones to the little flap here, just to make it look really nice. I think my fingers must be dirty or something, because I'm getting some stuff on this card. Yeah, it looks okay. I can clean that up. Okay, so last step here is to just get a little bit of glue right on the very edge here of these little wings, as I'll call them, flaps, whatever you want to call them. And I'm just going to spread that out a little thinner. Okay, and just go ahead and fold that up. And I'll press that down. And there's your envelope. Okay, give that a few moments to dry before you go and test it. I'm going to test it anyway because I'm bad. And you can see how nicely that fits, and it's ready to go. Okay, so again, take a look at the final photo so you can see what it's going to look like when we add little rhinestones for the eyes and the buttons. But overall, very simple card, and definitely a one-of-a-kind sort of thing. Your family and friends will certainly be impressed when they receive this for the upcoming holiday season, Christmas season. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the process. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button. That lets me know that you enjoy crafting with me. And if you make anything from our new bundle, we'd love to see it. So join us on the official group on Facebook by doing a search for Dreaming Tree Group. You can join myself and the 13,000 plus other dreamers that inspire us daily. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I look forward to crafting with you again.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love,